economic stability and confidence. Propagandist are proper critical needs of this minister and the development. Give us access to our money we put in the bank. As always said.
Top of the morning to you and welcome to Open Conversation. Open Conversation is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. We'll be looking at Edo gubernatorial election. Police began covert operations Cop Dark Sports. And in Delta State, we are running all-inclusive government, Oborovueri said. In Oyo State, NMPP faction denies Olopoye's suspension. Osun local government polls, OSIA gives parties 48 hours to correct candidates' status. And in PDP, Makinde vows to support the Magum Reposition Party. A Labour Party, Abure accuses Obi Oti of betrayal. This and many more to come your way in a moment. Please do stay with us.
Two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they want.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. The propagandists are suffered critical beliefs of this minister and the propaganda.
We got access to our money in return. As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. The propagandists are suffered critical beliefs of this minister and the propaganda.
We got access to our money in return. As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors.
Welcome back. We are open for adverts, placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Today, joining me on the studio to talk about open conversations today is Mr. Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu, socio-political analyst, joining me today. Thank you so much for coming, sir. How are you doing?
Well, we are hanging on in Nigeria, Victor. Is no one in Nigeria now will say that I'm fine or I'm well, unless those who sit around where they meet is, if you understand what I'm saying. So,
Because more come to join them yesterday being Tuesday, that is why their presence has become more visible. In a similar vein, the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa visited troops in the state where he cautioned them to be neutral and ensure free, fair, and credible exercise. While addressing troops at the headquarters of the 4th Brigade of the Nigerian Army, General Musa said that they want to have the best election in Edo State, and they are ready. So they have been briefed on what parts they should or they are supposed to play, and they are working as a team, and they are all Nigerians there, that nobody is more Nigerian than the other person. With other security forces, that they are going to work together as a team, the police said, the civil defense, DSS, and all other ones. They said they all know the election has a lot of issues, that there are a lot of expectations, and they want this election to go without any rancor. They don't want any disturbance, and nobody should come and intimidate anybody on that election day, and that they must ensure that the election is free, fair, and credible. INEC is the one conducting the election. The Nigerian police are the lead agency in security, so they must provide that security. Well, that's coming from the Edo ahead of the 2024 Saturday's election coming 3 days ago. So I would like to get your opinion on this. We've had police in Edo State, around Edo State, in what they call an operation to curb dark spots in Benin City ahead of the election coming on 3 days ago on Saturday. So
3 days coming.
3 days coming, I beg your pardon. So what would you make of this story?
Victor, it is laughable when we hear our security agencies in Nigeria overhype themselves. This is really unfortunate that a command of the police in Edo State will be dishing out this kind of information.
All right.
They are there on covert operations, especially the ones on plain clothes. They should not, there is no need whatsoever. It is not in the security ethics for the security agencies, anyone at all, to disclose their operational tactics. But what do we see in Nigeria here? This is just a media hype. But you will still see that what will happen in a Edo election is going to happen. They are just overrating themselves. They're only making it sound as if they're on ground. You remember last week they told us they are deploying 35,000 policemen and other security agencies. I asked, are we going on war? But this will be a litmus test for the IGP of police, Ebetokun, and Christopher Musa, who is the Chief of Army Staff. This also will be a litmus test for the new DSS boss. This will be a litmus test for the new EFCC boss, because those that will come for vote buying, we will sit down here that day to analyze it. You will get the on the spot and on the field report of what is going on at the polling booths and units around the Edo State. Again, Edo people are the people that are going to decide, like they rightly said. But my worries are this: the military, in other Senate climes, when there is a lot of, when there is a natural disaster and emergency, the military help in arresting the situation. Our military men should be in Borno State. They should be in Maiduguri. They should have mobilized themselves now to look out for where the floods are coming, where the government need to evacuate people, as Cameroon is going to open their dam very soon. So for me to deploy soldiers during election is really out of the democratic norms and tenets. For a whole chief of army staff to come and make bold statement and read the riot act in Edo State election. One state is not a federal election, but he has an army officer commanding in whichever division that is overseeing Edo State. He should have made his statement through the person, and the people that should be talking is the Nigerian police, Edo State Command, the Commissioner of Police Edo State, or the DIG, or maybe an AIG that is saddled with the responsibility of, taking charge. As far as this election is concerned, we know they normally deploy maybe 3 to 4 DIGs or AIGs to go and help the sitting commissioner. These are the people that should be talking, because they are on an official assignment to make sure that a Edo State election is seamless. But for a chief of army staff in a country that is being ravaged by banditry, by herdsmen, all form of criminality, kidnapping, and all whatnot, his concern is just a Edo State election. I mean, this is not the democracy we clamor for. This is not the democracy we see in other Senate climes. The police is the primary agency to oversee an election. The military have their estacade, assignment cut out for them. So for me, it is a slap and the belittling on the part of the Nigerian army to be going to Edo State and making such a statement. And now, if you are now releasing the information of how you're going to do your covert operations, the criminals and the politicians, they know how to beat you to your game. But if those plain policemen had been there to gather information, you don't need to let them. When I was growing up, we hear that there was SSS. Even some of us in primary school that time, we say we'll be SSS because they are only on plain clothes. They can mix up with people and gather information, and you will not know. They will now give the information to the uniformed men. You will just come and see an arrest or an action will be taken. You'll be asking yourself, how did this secret or a crime that has been committed, how they were able to bust that particular crime? But now, Another mistake they are making is to jettison or, remove totally the involvement of those local vigilante groups in Edo State. This is the mistake they always make. When the police want to prevent crime, or when they are overwhelmed, let me use that language, overwhelmed by a situation in a given locality, they will now want in synergy and form what we see in Northwest and the Northeast, what they call the JTF. They now do a joint operation. Why not use those boys that you will even know that the state apparatus, the state government on their part, might use them to perpetuate their own election fraud, so to say, allegedly now. But for the police to know those people that know all the hinterlands, all the creeks, because Edo State is one of the South states, so they are not devoid of all those slums and all the hideouts. But who are those people that know the place? Those that have been working in synergy with the police, who are the local vigilantes, who even know those that the government will use in perpetuating those electoral fraud. And again, you find out that they are concentrated in the city areas, while where elections are rigged in Nigeria and in the hinterlands. You cannot say an average Edo man that is staying in the cities do not know what he wants in the present Nigeria. You not be able, it is only maybe about 2% or 3% of people living within the city that already know, are politically aware, and they have the political education. Even if nobody now is politically educated, the hunger in the country, the situation of the country will dissect you to fall in place.
So, Mr. Ogochukwu,
so you will now know where you want to vote.
Okay.
My suggestion is this: let them go into the hinterlands where people are easily swayed through vote buying.
Okay.
And use the local vigilantes to track down and prevent those who will have such mindset.
Well, from their statement, they say they don't need anybody with firearms, no vigilantes, except those who are authorized to do so, which are the police, and that is why they have deployed these police in order to curb this, because they don't want, like you rightly mentioned, the election fraud to happen. So they don't want this to happen, and that's why they've deployed these police officers all corners to make sure that this doesn't happen. So are you saying you don't see this as an effective ways to curb this election fraud come this election?
I don't believe that at this critical moment, when you know that this electoral fraud are perpetuated in the hinterlands, that's where vote buying is done, and they know it. Forget about all this riot act, all those things that are telling us here. They know where electoral violence and the vote buying takes place. And who are those to help in giving them the information? They have already made a statement, even last week, that they don't need the services of the vigilante groups and those people who could help them in identifying those local politicians, that the traditional Nigerian politicians, because all those politicians you see that come and make statements during election, during campaigns, are not the people who go about paying people to buy their votes. They have their foot soldiers. And who are those people that will help you in identifying them? Are those local vigilantes that will tell you the hotspots. But when you have now, discarded their services, where do you want them to go? They would have made a statement that maybe those people, they normally carry firearms, that during this election, that they will be demobilized.
Okay.
But they are critically and they clearly stated that those guys will not be involved. We are in River State here. You see what OSPAC is doing. They are busting crimes. But the governor, let me bring it to River State now. The governor bought about 100 vehicles for the Nigerian police, who is under the federal purview. I think we discussed it last time. But refused to look at those guys that are doing the job. Those guys that even you and I know that in Nigeria today, the criminals don't even fear the police.
Well,
they fear those boys that know their modus operandi. Those who were hitherto part of them before. and they have dropped their criminal acts and embraced the society and the societal norms. And they are the people that are helping in making us have a relative peace in River State. I can tell you that for free.
That's the OSPAC now.
The OSPAC and the other sister local security agencies that we see around are the people who are. You saw the other day they recovered a baby thrown at the dustbin. Immediately they get any information, they move quickly to go, and if it's the Nigerian police, they'll be asking you, there is no fuel, there is no this and that. But in Edo State, where they are needed today to help the Nigerian police, because whether it's the military, the Navy, DSS, whatever you call them, they are under the command of the Commissioner of Police, or whom the IGP has authorized to oversee this election, coming from the police circle. Other people are working in line with their instructions. The military is only to be called in when they are overwhelmed. So why not them do that in synergy with those local vigilante boys? That's the $1 million question to ask the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army as it concerns the September 21st Edo State elections.
All right, let's move on to the next story. We have Delta State now. We are running all-inclusive government, says Oborevwori. Delta State Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, on Wednesday said he was committed to running an all-inclusive government that will give equal opportunities for all to excel, including those living with disabilities. Governor Oborevwori disclosed these while addressing the Delta State Association of the Deaf, who were in a solidarity visit to Government House, Asaba, as part of activities to mark the 2024 International Week of the Deaf with the theme, Sign Up for Sign Language Right. The governor, who spoke through the Chief of Staff, Government House, Honorable Prince Johnson Erijo, said his administration remained committed to providing inclusive governance for all Deltans and residents of the state. While commending the association of their peaceful disposition and support over the years, he pledged that their requests would be looked into. Earlier, Chairman of the Delta State Association of the Deaf, Comrade Oyibo Emmanuel, said they were at Government House as part of activities to celebrate the 2024 Deaf Awareness Week. He said that the deaf community in the state would like to be integrated into government and urged the governor to appoint 3 persons amongst them to handle their issues. Comrade Oyibo further said Delta had 11 special schools and would love to have qualified special teachers to be posted to such schools for effective communication, teaching and learning, adding that there were several deaf graduates who could be appointed to teach in the special schools. This is a very good step from the Delta State Governor, Oborevwori. Mr. Ogochukwu, let me get your thought on this gesture by the Delta State Governor.
You know, it saddens my heart to sit here every day and all I do is to criticize and criticize.
Well, at this point, is there anything to really criticize about from this gesture?
I rather would like to be a critic, you know, trying to defend the government policies that I know has direct bearing on the citizenry. If you will take a little lap on the administration that is ongoing in Delta State, Owerefori, and Ifeanyi Okowa. Ifeanyi Okowa came, did a lot of painting, cosmetic projects. A lot of schools that we had that were renovated, built, and all that. At the end of the day, people in Delta State will tell you that nothing happened. Just like the Edo State Governor, Obaseki, has, you know, tried to sugarcoat and paint some of the achievements he can ascribe unto himself. But we have some of our friends in Edo State, they will tell you that those things are not in place. It also calls to mind when Erocha Sokorocha was the governor of Imo State. A lot of the show projects that we saw on television, saw on government big boss and big screen televisions, but they are not on ground. So that is exactly what I'm talking about in Delta State. It saddens me. Why I use that word is because they only remember those people when they are celebrating something. Does the government factor them in their agenda? You could read from the handwriting of this communique now that the Oyibo, who is the comrade who is in charge of those deaf citizens, is the one now pointing out they have schools, they don't have qualified teachers. What is the chunk of the Delta State's budget that is allocated to special schools and citizens with special needs? That's why I tell you that it doesn't gladden my heart to get what they are saying, because they are now crying foul because they have not been factored into the mind of the government. Because if the government has taken them into account, you will not get this type of complaint. They are complaining now because they have been pushed aside. But during the elections, they reach out to them to come and vote. Okay. But at the end of the day, when I was studying in overseas, you do not see the people with special needs complain. Most of them that are visually impaired, they move on their own. If you go to any gathering at all that is more than 20 persons, you will see someone coming to use sign language to speak, even in the churches. I mean, in overseas, how many here do you see? Unless when it's one big governmental show that will be aired on the national television, you see someone. So those people who have studied those sign languages, who are meant to teach those people, to take them out of the streets, how is the government employing them? How many schools in Nigeria and how many governmental sectors that you see employ people that study psychology? Where do you see those who study psychology in Nigeria practicing? For what psychology? That's child psychology or adult psychology or any of the fields of psychology. Where are they being employed? Is the government mindful of their special their special profession to use them, and where the society needs them most? That is $1 million question to ask. So if these people have not come out now, the governor, look at what they are saying now. Other governors do appoint some of the citizens with special needs. But from what they are saying now, they have not been factored into the government plans after 1 year in office. Well, so let's assume that from their cry, because it's only when you shout in Nigeria that they will begin to hear your voice. As they have shouted, let us agree that the governor will factor them into his plans, and also that the governor of the state will also, those schools will be given the needed attention, so that when they come out, and are you talking about even giving them attention? Where will they be employed? This is Nigeria. Able-bodied people have not even gained employment in Nigeria, and you're talking about. So until we see a conscious effort by the governments in Nigeria in factoring people with disabilities into employment opportunity, giving them the quota they needed, making sure that the private sector also have a quota for them. How many private sectors have you entered? Office have you entered and see the citizens with disability working there? Unless it's one of their uncles or one of in their own organization, they now factor them into some places, they will be giving them handouts. But until Nigeria begins to see that there is ability in disability, as they always claim, we will continue to see and hear this kind of foul cry. Go to those schools, those 11 schools, they are saying their feeding will be a problem, and you could not imagine the amount they are being charged in that school. What has this governor now done to cushion the effect of this hardship on them, and to also, you know, subsidize their school fees. These are the things you will do for them. They're not asking you to come and spoon feed them. But until, like I said, the Nigerian government begin to see that citizens have equal rights, and like the police commissioner in Edo State said that no citizen is more Nigerian than the other. These are just rhetoric. When that Edo election comes, you will see that some citizens are more Nigerians than the others, because some people will be treated with kids' glove even when they are caught in the act, and some people will be bundled to Abuja, not only leaving them in Edo State to face the offenses they have committed. They will be taken to Abuja, while some people will be released to go on hot because they are on the side of the paymasters. The same thing we are seeing happening to all other citizens that are disadvantaged in Nigeria.
Well, if that sector hasn't been looked into, and now it's time for the government to look into that sector now, like he's saying, the governor of Delta State is saying now that he wants them to be included in the governmental process. And now he's calling that this is going to happen. Don't you think that this would actually happen, and it's a right step in the right direction?
He's not doing them any favor.
How do you say so?
No, what he's saying now, what you ask now negates what I have been saying since.
Okay.
You don't need to beg. As a citizen, the government should have run an all-inclusive government. He don't need to come out and tell us that he's running an inclusive government. Was he elected to rule only PDP? Was he elected to rule his family, to govern over his family? To tell us that that means Hideto before now, he has been running a divide and rule government.
But those with disabilities aren't specified to a particular party. So it's just those living with disabilities and not a particular party.
That is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Get what I'm saying? I say that for the governor's aide, who represented him, to say that the governor wants to run an inclusive government is an affront. It's a disservice. It's even uncharitable for him to have said that, because once you take an oath of office for the services and well-being of the citizens of Delta State, irrespective, and that you will deal with each and every one of them, irrespective of tribe, color, religion, political affiliation. Immediately you are elected, you are no longer a governor of your political party or your local government or your family, so to say. So for them to come and make such statements beats my imagination, that a government official will come and say a governor is running an inclusive government. That is an affront. It's an aberration, so to say. So that is even an indictment on him. That means in the past 1 year he's not running and that is why I told you that they are not factoring citizens into what they are doing. For him to now tell them, hey, we'll look into it, we'll do this one, tell you that they told those people we are not factored in. That is what I'm saying. But once you're elected, carry everybody along, give each section of the society what is due to them, look into their plights, and you are elected to solve problems and not to cause problems. That is why we say, if you don't want to get the heat, don't near the kitchen. If you know you are not ready for this service, because we employ them, we pay their bills. They don't pay our bills. We put resources in their hands to make sure that it's equitably and evenly distributed. That's what governance is all about. And you're here sitting telling me that is he doing them any service? Is it his personal money? It's not the personal money of the governor of the Delta State to now arrogate to himself as if he's doing charity. Governance is not a charity organization. If you want to do charity, let him go and form an NGO for the deaf. And now, when they come, they will be begging cap in hand, so that whatever he gives them is at his own magnanimity. But for him to use state resources and telling me that he's going to factor them into, that means he has been making a divide and rule. And that serves me right in what I say, that he has not factored them into his administration. He didn't even look at that constituency as part of the people that he's governing in Delta State. That is why they are crying. And now they have cried. time will tell what he's what he's going to do in hearkening to their yearning. So time is the factor here, and I will follow up this story to know exactly how he will be able to factor them into his administration and the agenda. You know, in Nigeria they don't follow party manifesto. It's agenda. Whatever the governor wants is what is, and that is what has kept us where we are today.
All right, time will tell. All fingers crossed in anticipation as we see as that plays out. Let's move on to the next story now. New Nigerian People's Party has denied reports that its Southwest leader Adebisi Olopoyan, along with other Oyo State executive members, has been suspended for 3 months. In a statement issued on Wednesday by the party's National Secretary, Sunday Ogini, the NNPP described the reports as an unholy message and urged the public to disregard the claims. Ogini stated that the party maintains that Alhaji Adebisi Olopoyan, a key figure in Ibadan politics, is the Southwest leader and one of our national leaders who has contributed significantly to the party, both in terms of human and financial resources. It is therefore a shared malady for a faction of Kwankwasia falsely masquerading as NNPP to pronounce his suspension. He further emphasized that Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and his faction have been expelled from the party, rendering any actions or announcements from them invalid. The NNPP also called for calm among its members in Oyo State, assuring them that the law would soon catch up with the Kwankwaso and his associates. The party reaffirmed its support for Olopoyan, declaring a vote of confidence in his leadership. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, it was reported that the NNPP had directed 6 suspended state executives to appear before its National Disciplinary Committee. This follows the National Working Committee's decision on September 6 to dissolve the executive committees in 5 state chapters, including Taraba, Gombe, Benue, Oyo, and Bauchi. In a statement released by the NNPP's National Publicity Secretary, Ladipo Johnson, following an emergency National Working Committee meeting, the party explained that the decision was part of the efforts to reposition the party and address ongoing issues. Johnson confirmed that all affected members have been notified and are required to appear before the National Disciplinary Committee. Let's take this. This is the NNPP faction denying Olopoyan's suspension at this time. I find this laughable, but so many Nigerians still do find this laughable.
Cannot be devoid of drama.
Okay, okay. So let's look at this now.
Which one now is the authentic faction?
Yes, leader.
From the national now that is calling for meeting, that called Benue State, Oyo, and the other Gombe
yes.
for a meeting. Which faction? Is it the Kwankwaso faction, or the faction loyal to the originator and the founder of the party? You know, since last year, immediately after the elections, the 2023 general elections, NNPP has been engulfed in crisis. And Kwankwaso, who hitherto was welcomed in the party to make use of the platform, to advance his political glory. You know, ran to, because NNPP had been in existence. It was not last year that NNPP came into existence. But you know that when you have big wits, those I call the Nigerian traditional politicians, when they step their foot inside a political party, becomes known. Just like when P2B, we know that Labour Party had produced 2 governors before now. The former governor of Ekiti State, and the former governor of Edo State, in the person of Adams Oshomole. And I will remember the name of the other governor, that the first governor they produced. You know. So after that, when Oshomole cross-carpeted to ACN, Labour Party went into comatose. They went quiet until 2023, when Nigerians were looking for an alternative, and the third force came, and what happened in PDP happened, Obi cross-carpeted. That was what now boosted the viability and the popularity of
Labour Party.
So also the same thing is what happened in NMPP. NMPP there is a party who has been quietly doing their thing, you know, running as an organization, so to say, because until I heard that Kwankwaso was to contest under NMPP, I never knew the party, because all I have known is that PDP is one of the only party that have survived since 1999. But I think NMPP also is following
the path,
the path of PDP. After PDP, I think it's the most senior party in Nigeria that have survived all the turbulent times and deregistration and all that in Nigeria. So when Kwankwaso came in, you know, he came in the guise that he will be a party man. At the end of the day, you know, this overbearing nature of Nigerian traditional politicians. He now wants to hijack the party from the owners. So that is what ensuing this problem. And the man last year told Kwankwaso, we gave you platform. You are not the owner of the party. That was how I now read that the party had been formed over time by an Igbo man. That is the founder of the party. So now that they are now factionalizing, is it that all the political parties in Nigeria are now factionalized? PDP is factionalized. Labour Party, their own has been in perpetuity. APC is factionalized because they are speaking in discordant tones. The disunity in them they are very obvious. Okay, look at another crisis that we boil in River State now, Victor, is this. The APP is the reigning party in River State with the elephant logo. But who knew APP? Since you became a journalist and you arrived River State here, have you heard of even during the 2023 general election, the one we just witnessed, did we hear anything about APP? But now the governor has associated with APP. APP is making waves in River State. Is it tomorrow now, Fobara, we want to now hijack the APP from the owners of the party? A problem will come because there are people who has been managing the party and funding it to keep it alive until you come to now fraternize and facilitate with them. Is it not? That is why in PDP, Nyesom Wike has insisted that after they lost power in 2015, everybody ran helter-skelter. PDP had no bearing, had no roof, has no pillar, and he stood firm and made sure that, okay, assuming Nyesom Wike has left PDP during that time, that all of them deserted PDP, all the big wigs. What would have been of PDP today that everybody is clamoring? Our party, you want to destroy our party. But somebody stood and maintained the structure of that party to stand the test of time. And now you are now coming to hibernate. After crisscrossing and harlotting around other political parties, you now came in and you think it's easy to wrestle that party from the owner. So Kwankwaso should do himself a whole lot of good to reconcile if he still wants to continue with NPP. And again, INEC should also help us in this regard to tell us who is authentic, the recognized faction of NMPP, the one that is in their book, who goes for meeting and all whatnot. You know that MPP, the fallout there was that after last general election, the Kwankwaso group held a kangaroo congress where he now emerged as the national leader. The same name Ashiwaju Bola Tinubu was using in APC before he understood that he was just floating on the water. Because those positions has no bearing in the constitution of the party. You can be, if you want to have a name, you can be the chairman of the BOT, which is the soul of any political party. But at this time now, they are parading themselves as a national leader. What is the meaning of a national leader? So you now want to use that one to now stifle the party from the owners, and I say no to it. But INEC should help Nigerians in telling us, as they have already now decided the fate of Labour Party and Abure.
Party, yeah, I was actually coming
yes,
to that,
they have decided the fate. We now know that Abure is no longer the chairman of. That is why we see him later crying that he has been betrayed.
Yes, we'll come to that.
Yes, that he has been betrayed, because now INEC has come to nail the final nail on his coffin. So let them do the same thing, not to allow Kwankwaso and his bragados to destroy an MPP.
All right, I'm very particular about INEC's role in this faction saga that is affecting all political parties, and Nigerians are really concerned about that. Do you think that INEC, just like you rightly mentioned, I just want you to digest more on that, that INEC has hands in this faction saga affecting all these political parties? Because when you look at it's in this way, they are supposed to, know those who are authentic members of these parties. They are supposed to decide those who are authentic members, and at this point, they are not doing that. Do you think they have hands, or they are one way influencing these parties or factions, saga to happen in these parties?
INEC is an umpire.
Yes.
INEC is not a political party. They are only saddled with the responsibility of overseeing that there is peace and the right thing, the Electoral Act, the doctrine of the Electoral Act is followed to the letter in choosing leaders of a political party.
Of course.
So now that they are the referee, they don't decide even when a match will be fixed. They are only given the time. So in this vein, INEC is only waiting for the appropriate time, just as they have done in Edo State, in Labour Party. When wishes comes to the point that they have to make a statement, or maybe any faction of the party now, like an MPP now, goes to court, they will drag INEC. INEC will be dragged into the suit. It is there INEC will come and state their own. It will make clear their decision and what they have seen on ground, because in INEC website, all the names of authentic members are there. But INEC will also allow politicians to be politicians. They are playing politics. So politics is a game of interest, and it's a game of faction. Even if they're telling you that we are still we are sleeping on the same bed, they don't trust each other, because 24 hours is a very long time in politics for somebody to act in a way that you won't even believe that it's the same person you have been having meeting with. So some of them are planted as moves in those parties. So INEC will come in and take a decisive step. Let the owner of the party, I'm forgetting his name now, and his own faction, let them take this matter to court. Then INEC will be joined in the suit, and that is when they will know the true position. But what INEC will do now, as it is in the case of Labour Party, they will sit back, allow them time. There is a time they will be calling meetings and all those ones, and the two people are representing one party. They will also tell you that this is not the way to go. At a time, the sledgehammer will fall. So when those parties know that sledgehammer will fall, they will beat themselves into shape. And again, what INEC will do now, what INEC is doing wrong is like what we saw in Osun State. That one state that conducted the primaries, and INEC was in the both primaries. So INEC should know the ones that are coming from the National Working Committee and the neck of a given political party, and then you now carry it, and that is the way you are going to place it and make sure that these are the authentic one. Not when two factions are holding elections or Congress. They will now invite INEC. INEC will supervise both of them, thereby fueling the crisis we are seeing in those political parties. Be that as it may, it is germane to state that INEC is an umpire. They don't form a political party. They are not the Electoral Act that lay down the tenets and the criteria for a political party to be function and how the political parties are functioning. But they are there to supervise that the political parties are doing what the letters of the Electoral Act and the Constitution have said about the governance of their respective political parties. So they have a role to play, but their role to play is not to now mandate it or imprint it upon the political parties to do their bidding. No, they will give them time. When they fail, they have a way of disciplining those erring political parties.
All right. Let's look at this story now. Osun local government polls, OSEC, gives parties 48 hours to correct candidate status. Chairman, Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, OSEC, Mr. Hashim Abioye, has disclosed the All Progressive Congress, APC, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as well as other political parties have 48 to undo infractions in the nomination of its candidates. He also disclosed that candidates of the APC, the Allied People's Movement, and the Action People's Party, APP, who were illegally substituted cannot take part in the election over breach of the law. Addressing journalists at the Correspondence Chapel in Oshobo on Wednesday, Hashim disclosed that the outcome of its verification committee has revealed that most of the party committee had an infraction or the other. According to him, he have written to all the parties involved to correct remediable infractions regarding their candidate's nomination within 48 hours, while the breaches that cannot be corrected remain unresolved. The APC, for instance, has cases of illegal replacements of candidates for chairmanship and vice chairmanship, which is not remediable in 7 local government areas of the state. He said the provision of the law is not an innovation. It is also contained in the Electoral Act 2022, which is the provision we have now adopted. For this reason, some political parties, notably the All Progressive Congress, APC, the Allied People's Movement, APM, and the Action People's Party, APP, ran foul from the provisions and procedure regarding the substitution of candidates. While no substitution can be validly done without following the rules, any substitution or change of candidates done after the purported candidate intended to be a replacement for another must have been given and submitted nomination form despite his or her name not being on the list originally submitted to the commission would be void. He also went ahead to say that let me note once again that virtually all the political parties contesting the elections had one case or another of the infractions which are remediable. But the political parties highlighted above committed most of the infractions that are incurable by giving nomination form for candidates whose names were not on the list in some local government areas and wards. These we cannot help. Mr. Ogochukwu, this just summarized everything we just discussed before we moved into the story now. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
INEC and the OSEC.
Yes, and now they are coming now to say that, oh, these fractions is affecting people and they're giving them 48 hours to correct the candidate's status. This is exactly the same thing I was talking about the INEC, you know, the INEC's role in the faction saga of all the political parties. And now OSEC is doing that. What do you make of this story? Because it's quite interesting.
This is really laughable.
Yes,
but it is not in the place of OSEC to determine who is who should be the candidate of a political party. So unless the only place they can come in is through the courts.
Okay.
Because if I am a candidate of a political party, maybe after the primaries, just like we saw in the case of Amechi and Omeha. If I'm dissatisfied that I won the primary elections and you substitute my name as a political party, I can go to court and I'll bring my evidence that so person did not win the primary unless they had a consensus candidate, which is also allowed by the law to have a consensus candidate by a political party. But in this case, if I contest for an elections primary to represent my political party as a flag bearer, and at the end of the day, another name is being sent, it behoves on me. I won't even write to INEC or OSEC. So what I want to find out is OSEC is now in Osun State, and Osun is governed by PDP. We didn't hear PDP mentioned. Is it not a case of PDP being afraid or playing to the gallery of the names, because there are some grassroots. This local government election is about the grassroots. And if you understand what plays out in the grassroots, the people know themselves and whom we can send. Just like in River State now, we are hearing that some of the big names are not, people are against them in the local government election in their APP. And those names are being jettisoned so that they will fly with the person that the masses want. So in this case also, in Osun State, the parties have submitted their names. Nobody. They did not tell us that some people went to court to challenge those names from within the political party. And that is why I'm telling you that it's within the purview, it's within the right of the contestants of the primary election to go to court and say that I participated in this election, I won, or the election was rigged in favor of this person, or election did not hold at all, which we normally hear in Nigeria. After primaries, they say, no, primaries did not hold, or there is a parallel primaries. But this one, the political party, APC, Allied People's Movement, and APP, they are not complaining. None of them went to court to challenge their party. Because this is this internal party democracy. And they have done their own. OSEC is only there to receive the names that have been turned out by those political parties. If the political party, a particular candidate had a problem, it behoves on the person to go to the court. And what OSEC will do is to await the decisions of the court. They are not supposed to be the umpire and also to be the law, the interpreter of the law and the enforcer. They are doing the three things at the same time from the communique they have written. Is it not? They are becoming the law officer. They are also becoming the judge, the enforcer, and also the arbiter in this case now. So it is not in their right. It is not in their, unless those commissions are governed according to the rules, the laws made by their state houses of assembly, which is not in line with the National Electoral Act. But I know that they cannot have their own electoral act without picking from the mother electoral act body, which is the Nigerian Electoral Act 2023 as 2022 as amended, signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. And then it is also drawn from the constitution of the country, because the electoral act is a body of the constitution governing the process of election. In the states too, they have, like you saw, Anambra State is saying that their local government chairmen and councillors will serve for 2 years. Other places are 3 years. In FCT, the Senate amended it for them to serve 4 years. So it is within the right of the different states' houses of assemblies, according to the constitution, to make laws to govern their state, and also to make provision for how elections and the local governments are run in their states. So we might not know. But in this case, that those political parties, none of their candidates went to court, what is there for the OSEC? They don't need to knock their heads around of what they should wait for there to be a complaint, and that complaint will come from the orders of the court, that there should be a substitution, or because once a political candidate is going to court, they withdraw OSEC into it so that they will come and witness what the courts will adjudicate. At the end of the day, the court will now direct them to now take up the particular candidate. But we also see in Nigeria placeholders. So if those political parties mentioned now has given a name before, and those ones were placeholders, Lawan, the former Senate president, contested the presidential primary elections under APC and went back to collect his ticket as a senator. The present Senate president, Godswill Akpabio, had a placeholder. Even Bala Mohammed, that is now championing PDP Governors Forum, he contested the presidential primaries under PDP. One of his brothers or one of his commissioners was made a placeholder. When he failed this one, he went back and is serving his second tenure now. David Umahi, Umahi had a placeholder in the name of one of his brothers. So these are what we see in Nigeria. Why will this one be a sin? If the larger Electoral Act INEC accommodates it, why will what is the problem of OSEC in how a political party runs their internal democracy? So I am seeing a foul play. I'm seeing PDP trying to use OSEC to undermine other political parties, as the case may be.
All right, that's your thoughts, by the way.
No, that is that is what I'm saying. And if you look at it critically, if you look at all the analysis I have given out, they have no locus to question whom a political party has brought as their candidate without a member of the political party who participated in an election to go to the court to challenge why his name is missing. The person cannot even write to OSEC that his name is missing. OSEC will now respond that these are the names that are turned on and are turned out onto us by your political party. So the best thing is for you to go to court. And hence that has not happened, they don't have the locus to question any infraction involving a name that a political party has sent as their candidate.
Okay, we move on to PDP now. Makinde vows to support the Magum Reposition Party. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has assured the chairman, National Working Committee, NWC, of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Iliya Damagum, of his support to reposition the party. Makinde gave his assurances in Ibadan on Wednesday during the groundbreaking of the upgrading of Ladoke Akintola Airport, Ibadan, to an international standard. The governor maintained that he would support whatever decision the Damagum-led National Working Committee would take to reposition the party. He said, even if we have issues among ourselves, I don't think this is the right time to fight. We have an important election on Saturday in Edo State, and we should just rally around and deliver our candidate, Dr. Asue Ighodalo said. On why he didn't attend the party's campaign grand finale in Benin, Makinde said he had already scheduled meetings in Finland and Sweden before the campaign date was announced. The governor declared that he was 100% with the Edo PDP governorship candidate, Ighodalo, and urged the people of Edo to vote for him as their new governor. This is PDP now. Makinde vows support for Iliya for the party. What do you make of this? Do you think he's the right candidate for PDP? Let's begin with that.
You know, it beats my imagination when you see politicians grandstanding.
Okay.
I think Makinde is trying to play into the hands of Nyesom Wike. You know, before the 2023 general elections, he's among the G5 governors that he did to worked against their political party, but he know that when you are a big fish, they want to cut your head so that the other smaller fishes will run away. Okay. That's why everybody is only Nyesom Wike that did anti-party. But they got Governor Tom, the former governor of Benue State, the governor of Abia State, former Okezie Bazon, Makinde, Nyesom Wike, and which other governor? I think there are five of them. They are the people that said because of the injustice that happened to the Southern candidacy, which they agreed, or even the natural cause will tell you that after Muhammadu Buhari's administration of 8 years, the presidency should go to the South. APC quickly played into that analogy. And today, APC is on the saddle through their candidate, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Then, Makinde, who played a crucial role, who was even at the meeting, how many times they went to London to meet with Asiwaju, he was present. And he also bargained for and Wike also spoke for Makinde to have his place, because APC was all out to retake Oyo State. And Makinde saw the handwritings on the wall, because his youthful exuberance and the type of governance he was turning out in Oyo State, and given the dynamism of Oyo State politics, where you are not even guaranteed the second tenure in Oyo State, he quickly played into the hands of APC. The agreement was for him to support Tinubu, the APC candidates, for APC now to give him his mandate. And he played, and that's why he's serving his second tenure. All of us know what happened. And he, Makinde, knew that he could have not survived the onslaught APC would have put in Oyo State in order to remove him from that seat. So he quickly aligned himself. And few months down the line, he started disassociating himself from Nyesom Wike. And now he has clearly seen the handwriting on the wall, because he's also trying to position himself as somebody who will contest the presidency in 2027. And his brother governors are not, Bala Mohammed is trying to come. So he's now seeing that even those people that are forming the PDP Governors Forum now are not tending towards his way. He has now remembered that there was an alliance. In trying to play into supporting Damagu is for him to buy the mind of Nyesom Wike, because Nyesom Wike, we know, is a strong supporter of Damagu. So the question will be, has Makinde now jettisoned his brother governors? Why was he not in the grand finale? What is his position in mobilizing for Edo people to vote for his candidate, even as he came back as a governor of PDP, who won the success of the party in Edo State? He should have paid a private visit. Let us know that Makinde came back from Finland or wherever he went to, and he has visited Edo State and galvanized support. Let us see him like Nyesom Wike did when Obaseki was coming for his second tenure and relocated to Edo State. Let him stay 2 days in Edo and move around the street and canvass vote for his party. I'm just seeing him as playing double standing, giving his fallout, which he himself know what is in mind, that he orchestrated in trying to sever relationship with Nyesom Wike. You will see that the next thing he will do now is to pay Nyesom Wike a visit. We know all of we know their story. We know their antecedents. We know how they play their politics. Now he has seen that he's becoming a lone ranger among the PDP 13 governors in their forum. He's beginning to now realign himself. That is what you're seeing. In the days ahead, we'll spell out exactly what his minds are. But for him to have pronounced support for Damagu, he has pronounced support for Nyesom Wike.
Well, tensions are really high. Temperatures are high regarding the Edo governorship election on Saturday. But I want to get your view. How do you see, what position do you see Ilya now in the electioneering process on Saturday? How do you see him, how do you view his performance will be like?
As far as the PDP Governors Forum, and the Obaseki is not in the good books of Nyesom Wike, and in the good books of Damagu. The PDP are just playing to the gallery. They're just doing cosmetic campaign and the last minute patch up, just to make sure that they just float. They say, we participated in an election, that the national was there. The national is not there. I can tell you that for free. Damagu on the saddle of PDP as the acting chairman, and Makinde now tending towards the support of Damagu, which will now piss off his brothers, who are now saying that Damagu should relinquish power and give it to somebody from North Central, that he should go back to his former position. What is that telling you? It's telling you that PDP is going to that fight divided. Damagu is just going to as a poster boy, just to make sure as a national chairman I played my role. But Nyesom Wike is not in that, didn't throw his heart in supporting PDP. Damagu is not going to do more than he's doing now. And the Makinde is no longer fighting together with his brother governors who are in the PDP Governor Forum. For me, PDP, APC, PDP is already out of the, I've been saying it since last 2 months, that given what we have seen on ground and the role and how Obaseki has shot himself on the foot by fighting his deputy, fighting the traditional stool in Edo State, and all the infractions, allowing Dan Obi to leave. Did you know the position Dan Obi is holding in PDP? Deputy National Chairman South from your own state, and you allow him to leave the political party. That was the final nail in the coffin of PDP in Edo State. So there is no magic they are going to do. What they are going to do, they are let them participate in the election, and the outcome is what they already know.
All right, let's take a look at the last story now. Labour Party Abure accuses Obi Oti of betrayal. Faction of the Labour Party LP, led by Julius Abure, has accused the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, of unfairly singling it out for retribution for actively supporting the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and the Abia State Governor, Alex Oti, during the 2023 general elections. Abure made this statement at a media briefing by the factional National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, at the party's national secretariat on Wednesday in Abuja. He also alleged that Obi and Oti had betrayed all that the Labour Party ever stood for, stressing that the court now takes sides with INEC, which, according to him, disappointed Nigerians by bungling the will of the people during the 2023 elections. According to Ifo, the Labour Party needed to notify Nigerians about the recent developments in the party, especially the efforts by some of the leaders of the party, including the former presidential candidate of the party, Peter Obi, and the Abia State Governor Alex Oti, amongst others, to annex power from the leadership of the party through unfathomable means, using INEC as their tool. He said many Nigerians still remember how the party bent over backwards to accommodate some of the leaders when their former political parties denied them tickets. The media has been awash with INEC's counter affidavit to the effect that the tenure of the current executives has expired, which was supposed to be a justification for the inglorious purported Umuahia stakeholders meeting, where a caretaker committee was produced. He also went ahead to say that you will recall that His Excellencies Peter Obi and Alex Oti a few weeks ago convened an illegal stakeholders meeting in Umuahia, where they handpicked some of their cronies, a 29-member caretaker committee, in the most undemocratic fashion as leaders of their faction of the party. They subsequently wrote a letter to the INEC on September 6, 2024, informing the Commission of the purported and non-existent leadership crisis in the party, he added. Well, over to you, Mr. Ogochukwu.
You know, this is a whipping of sentiment.
Okay.
For me, there is nothing there. It's just whipping sentiment because Obi has left him. And again, Labour Party has moved on. Abure is in the past. If Obi has stood with him, this day is in the character of Nigerian politicians. You know, I pity some big men in Nigeria because when you give us this handout they give us, Igbo people have an adage that if you're eating, maybe you're eating yam and you put the last one in your mouth, there is no other one to dip your hand in the plate and pick. That particular one, momentarily in the mouth, suffers a lot because you're going to chew it because you know that you have the luxury of time. But if there are some left in the plate, you quickly eat this one so that you pick another one. So when Obi was standing by him during his Apapa ordeal, Obi stood by him 100%. Nigerians knew. The obedience stood by him. But when they knew that he has become a clog in the wheel of progress of Labour Party, especially when he went ahead with the kangaroo kangaroo congress that they had, that was the final nail. That how he shot himself on the foot. So at the end of the day, he's reaping what he has sown, because he did not reposition the party. When he's using INEC as an alibi now, that INEC tumbled what happened to them mobilizing party agents? We are here on the field. They capitalize on the popularity of Obi and what the obedience have said, that we stand our ground. But you must have somebody leading the line. Somebody that is in obedient movement, who is at the polling unit. We don't even know. Obedient group, they are not card-carrying members of political parties, they are just aligning with the personality of Obi. Then the Labour Party hierarchy now